Hey guys, welcome back. So today we're finally going to talk about the XM8 rifle. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll know I've been posting pictures of this rifle for a little while now, and a lot of you guys in the comment section of previously posted videos have said, hey Mac, what's up with the XM8? When are you going to post a video? Well, to answer your question, we're going to post a video today. Here it is, the Tommy built XM8. Now this rifle is based on an SL8, which is a semi-automatic imported rifle from HK that's no longer being imported, and that is the base rifle for this conversion. Tommy built really does magnificent work in terms of doing HK type conversions. He can take a USC carbine and turn it into an UMP. He can take an SL8, turn it into a G36, or in my case, an XM8. Now the XM8 is a really interesting rifle from history. I've always wanted to shoot one, but I never thought I'd actually get that chance. I thought perhaps I was going to have to buy an airsoft rifle just to have the opportunity to get the feel of what an XM8 was really like. Fortunately, I stumbled across Tommy built on Instagram, saw some of his work, kept drooling over it, and finally committed the funds to having one built. Now, I know what you guys are going to ask next is, how much does this thing cost? Well, there's no set fixed cost currently. My understanding is that Tommy built does want to go into production with receivers and ultimately make guns, but right now it's a custom gun build. So you have to have a base rifle, an SL8, then you have to send it to him, and you have to choose what options you want on the gun. What barrel profile, what color, do you want it as an SBR, do you want it as a full-length rifle? All sorts of different options. Once you have all that figured out, in my case, I have about $5,000 total into this gun. So the guns are not inexpensive. So to find the SL8, you're gonna have to jump on a place like Gun Broker or Guns America to try to find a base gun, then send it out and wait for the conversion time, which takes some time. It's custom gun work. I should say that he's not just a gunsmith, the guy is an artisan, which you'll see as we get a closer look of this XM8 rifle. Now I opted to have mine with a full-length barrel, so this is not an SBR. I did have to send it back out. Originally, I did not have him recontour the barrel, so that's what's prolonged the production of this video. I sent it back out to have the barrel recontoured, so it has a thinner profile, and then I have a 1/2x28 thread on here with an HK type muzzle device. But inside, just like the original XM8, it is pretty much a G36, right down to the collapsible stock when I'm talking about the authenticity of the build of the XM8. Now keep in mind, the original XM8s did not have side folding stocks, so this is correct. Something else that's really cool is that the hand guard here isn't hard plastic like the rest. This is a softer rubberized polymer, which gives it a really nice feel. And what's really interesting now, I don't know how Tommy built's making these parts. I'm going to go ahead and guess that he has handcrafted some custom molds, because the XM8 never really went into production in the US market, so it's not like you can get on Gun Broker and buy XM8 parts. He's had to mold all these components, including the stock, its locking mechanism, all that stuff. He's had to mold all those parts, I'm guessing, by hand, which really is impressive, especially given the overall quality of the build. Now, the sight that I have on here is an Insight. It's an ISMV. This is a sight very similar to what you would have found on the original XM8. Insight worked with H&K to produce the optic for the US Army during their trials, and ultimately, of course, it never was adopted, and so this is about as close as you're going to get to an authentic XM8 type sight. It has an integrated red light laser, visible laser as well. All right, I've talked enough about the gun for now. I'll give you some more details like the magazine well and how it's interchangeable and all the other good stuff as we get a little bit further into the video. Right now, I just want to put a magazine in the thing and start pulling the trigger and show you guys how this thing works. Let's do that now. Right now I have the rifle configured with the G36 magazine conversion that allows it to use standard PMags. What's nice about Tommy built's work is that most of the parts that you'll find for the G36 on the website hkparts.net, you'll be able to use on your XM8 rifle, like this magazine well conversion, which just pops on with one pin. I'll show you that here in a second. Standard PMag. I have some ZQI M855 ball loaded in there. Charging handle's right here on the top. It's an ambi charging handle. Again, it's basically a G36. I'm going to go ahead and charge the rifle, and then I'm going to start shooting this bad boy. Bolt locks open. Now what's kind of weird about the magazine conversion for the G36 is that the magazine release button's over here. I don't have an AR-15 style release by my shooting index finger, I have to release it from here. Now the original XM8 also used G36 mags. So let's take a look at how I swap out this magazine well, and then we'll do a little bit of shooting with the G36 mag. To swap out the magazine well, all you have to do is push out one button, or not one button, but one pin. There's a single cross pin. Fits a little bit tight. Okay, it fits really tight. I'm gonna use the tip of a bullet here to push it out. Get a good grip on it here. Pull that pin out, typical HK style. Now you can pull the magazine well off. Now this is the magazine well that Tommy built, manufactured himself. And again, I'm guessing he's cutting this out of some stock of polymer, or he's molding them, but this is handmade. I'm going to put it in place. Have to hit the little flapper here because now we're going to have a flapper type release versus the AR-15 style. Lines up. Push the pin back through. And now we should be able to use G36 mags. I'm going to go ahead and put this one round I took out back in the magazine. Let's walk over here really quick. Stick the G36 magazine in. It locks in. Again, like I said, there's a flapper release here like an AK, which is what's normal for the G36 type magazine. Go ahead and charge the rifle. And here we go. And locks open on the last shot fired. Guys, this is simply beautiful. The fact that I can even own something like this just makes me incredibly happy. Again, the XM8 is one of those rare birds that you just don't see every day. This is a real head turner at the firing range. You pull this thing out and people immediately think of the video games that really made this gun popular in pop culture in the United States throughout the late 90s and early 2000s. And I think they're fairly popular in the airsoft community as well. What a neat gun. Yep. It's nice being able to have an adjustable length of pull too. I mean, Tommy built has really thought of everything. It's such a good looking rifle. One of the hardest parts about completing my conversion was trying to find the Insight ISMV sight. I finally found one on eBay. I got lucky and only had to pay $750 for the sight. And some of you guys are going to go, lucky, that's a lot of money. Yes, it is a lot of money, but the sights are no longer in production and very hard to find. Now, I also bought one of these because you just never know when you're going to be able to find an original Insight. Tommy told me to try out this little Hollow Sun, which it looks very similar to the ISMV. Also has an integrated red laser. That's what you saw in my early Instagram pics. This is what I bought to put on the gun, thinking I would not be able to find one of these sights anytime soon. But fortunately, I found one on eBay. Actually, I think one of the fans posted a link to one of my Instagram posts that pointed the sight out. So you guys are always saving my butt, and I really appreciate that. You guys are awesome. So anyway, I have it now and I have it all completed. You have the basic controls right here for your brightness settings. This big button over here is for the visible laser. It has a remote pressure switch that comes in the box. I got the original sight with the original box. And then right back here is a switch setting, so you can set it to several different modes. Laser mode, red dot sight mode. There's even a mode in there that's for future use only. And we never know what they were working on there, but that mode doesn't do anything on the sight. You can make adjustments for windage and elevation. Here's elevation, windage is over here on the side of the sight. I have to admit, it's a big, ugly sight, but I would imagine in the 1990s, this thing was quite cutting edge, even the early 2000s. I've gone ahead and I've put the magazine adapter for the AR-15 mag well back on the gun, just because I only have one G36 mag. G36 mags are available. HKparts.net does sell them, but they are not inexpensive. And I have a bunch of PMags, so it was worthwhile for me to invest in this magazine. Well, now I'm going to go ahead and fire at the steel target. I have not zeroed this gun yet with this Insight optic, but let's just see how close it is at 50 yards. Holy cow, left and right looks good. I'm thinking this sight is actually spot on. Oh, that one went a little wild. Back to center. All right, so it definitely is shooting a little bit right if you look at the target down there. Every time I aimed center of mass, it was a little bit to the right, and a couple of shots went off to the right of the target. So I am going to give it a little bit of left adjustment. Let me see if I can do that with a spent rifle case. Looks like the elevation isn't bad for 50 yards. All right, so going that way is right. We want to go left. I'm just guessing at the clicks here. We'll try that. Let's drop the PMag out. Have a USGI magazine, again, M855 ball, the ZQI stuff. Let's see how that works now. All right, so maybe just a hair more left windage. I think it's pretty much on. Should be able to hit at 100 with it. I don't want to get this thing too hot, guys. Now, the quality of the build, I would say, is really good. I mean, right down to the little finest detail, like the soft rubber handguard up here. However, just playing with it, I'm going to say that this isn't something you're going to want to go out and beat up. You're not going to treat this like you would an M4 rifle or something. You're not going to butt stock people with it or run around and really abuse it. This is more of a conversation piece, but a shootable one, and a beautiful one at that. That's not to say that the stock wouldn't hold up. I'm simply not going to try. I have way too much money in the gun. I know that most of these components are handmade, and I'm not sure what the polymer is made out of. So I'm just going to be very careful with it. So you're never going to see me throw this in the mud. I don't want to. But yeah, I really, really do enjoy shooting this thing. I don't want to get it too hot. But what's funny is I burned off a little bit of oil, but I'm not feeling a whole bunch of heat, but I do smell something. It's not burning anything, I smell something other than oil. I'm gonna let the rifle cool down a little bit before we shoot it some more. I just want to talk about the history of the XM8 just a little bit. So when the rifle first appeared, it was married to another weapon system, and the whole package was known as the OICW, and that program included a grenade launcher type weapon married to a rifle. So you had a rifle and this grenade launcher all as one unit, and the grenade launcher was really advanced, really high tech. So it had a laser rangefinder. It would allow the soldier to fire this warhead and tell it to explode in front of a target, above a target, do an aerial burst. It could go behind barricades and explode behind the barricade. All sorts of crazy stuff that would have given the US soldier an extreme technical advantage on the battlefield. And then optionally, they could flip a selector lever and fire a 5.56 rifle. Well, the rifle and the grenade launcher split. And the grenade launcher became the XM25, went on its own developmental path, and the rifle became the XM8 and went along its own developmental path. And of course, this is the XM8. Now, this was developed by HK of Germany and is based on the G36 rifle. The US government obviously wanted some changes done to the weapon. The optic that they were working with had integrated lasers, IR lasers, visible lasers, all sorts of crazy stuff. And again, Insight worked closely with HK to develop that sighting system for the XM8. But they also had other requirements for, integrating battery power and stuff like that into the rifle. And again, no other military really gave much interest in the gun other than the Malaysian Navy, who actually put the thing into service. So by 2005, as I've already mentioned, this rifle went out of the prototype phase and kind of went nowhere. Now, what's kind of interesting is that while the Army was considering this gun, and it was quite a while, I mean, they started the program in the 90s, late 90s, and it continued on until about 2005. Quite a few of these guns were built for the Army to evaluate. Matter of fact, the cameraman was stationed in Alaska at the time the XM8 came to Alaska to his base. He didn't get a chance to shoot the rifle, but it was up there for cold weather testing. So they were moving the rifles all over the place, testing them in all sorts of environments. And again, it just fizzled out and died. Well, it's not the first time the U.S. Army has considered replacing the M4. It seems like the U.S. Army does this more and more frequently. We just came out of another set of trials that went on for a couple of years, and they canceled it after everybody submitted weapon systems. The XM8 was, came before that, but it seems like the Army keeps coming to the same conclusion. There's nothing really better out there than the M4, or it isn't significantly better to warrant the expense they would have to go to replace the M4 in service. So the XM8, at least in the U.S. military, went the way of the dodo. And if you want to have one of these, you have two choices. You can have one custom built by Tommy Built, or you can buy an airsoft and just kind of get a feel for the gun. I think it's really cool that Tommy Built's doing these. I mean, this will probably wind up being a wall hanger more than a range rifle, although I will bring it out when folks want to see the thing and let them shoot it. I may take it to some of the events like Iraq Veterans Shoot. I may bring this XM8 down, let people shoot it, but I'm not going to shoot it a whole bunch, guys. I have a lot of money in it, and quite honestly, it's more of a collector's piece and a conversation piece to me, anyway, than it is something I'm going to take out and shoot a whole bunch. I hope you guys enjoyed coming out to the range with me and shooting my XM8 from Tommy Built. Now, if you guys want to pick up one of these rifles, you're not just going to pick it up right now. You're going to have to go through the conversion process, find a base rifle and all that, as I detailed earlier in the video. But if you want to reach out to Tommy Built, the best way to do it is how I did it. I found him on Instagram. I'll put a link to his Instagram account down below. And I want to thank all of you guys for continuing to support the Military Arms channel. It really does mean a lot to me. If you guys want to support the channel outside of just watching the videos, you can swing by Copper Custom, which is our online store, and pick up a Mac patch for $3.99. It really does help out. Also, please swing by and check out full30.com. Thanks again for watching, everybody. I'll talk to you guys soon. Now, let's fire off one more magazine to the XM8 before I head home.